Welcome in, welcome in. All right. Welcome to our live show today, West Coast Uncensored, where we don't try. We uncensor that which has been censored, that which has been veiled up, that which ends up not serving us, and that which is not true as tie, we take away and remove veils, right? Like layers of our ego, our self, our false self that is covering us as we get through the identity to get to our quantum real self, or our light body, our light self of who we really are at the core essence of what we are as this time that we're at now. And we talked about it on my last video. We were talking about something that this is going to go with this, but this is going to be a jump off to that was something I did. It was just a 20 to 21 minute video. This, I have no time limit what's going to take. I'm going to put out what I'm going to take. I'm going to share of just a few things dealing with words, a little etymology, little definitions, but I'm going to go into core stuff of experience and of revelation knowledge, or gnosis, if you want to call it that, the awakening, getting deeper revelation experiences, even using your dream world when you're lucid dream and you have these things. And I've noticed through my life that a lot of dreams that I've had, I knew these were core reality dreams because of the details that I remember and experience in the details. And then at the time, trying to grab and place the pieces of what does this mean. And sometimes, and especially recently, and it's been coming to me since even that video of what was said, done, and experienced, to the revealing of something that was 2 years ago that's happening. It was like going to my future self through the mist or the mystery of the dream world through the veil. Notice this is called the collapsing veil. I talked about it the other day, how everything is collapsing, right? How everything appears to be falling on itself. And as it falls on itself, those who you never expect will tell you truth, even not that they're on your team and they're an angel, but they may have given you a message if you receive from them. And if you're still, I'm going to be honest, if you're still caught up in left versus right, you won't receive truth from the other side. And you say, well, what do you mean? Because you're still caught up in a paradigm that was given to you, which is connected to the collapse. Let me repeat that. You're still stuck on a paradigm of an illusion of thinking it's a reality, but it's really illusionary, as it's revealed itself into itself. And I mentioned people who are telling you the truth. I've mentioned politicians who have told you the truth at one time, or even recently, especially one really sticks out. But we have CIA agents going out telling us the truth about a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, interesting that when something collapses, like London falling, like the USA falling, and they give us these movies, they give us these scripted movies, which is really the script of the reality more than the truth, running circles around the truth of the propaganda comedy show, or let's call it Saturday night or weekly night news, which is like Saturday Night Live. It's a joke. It's a comedy show because they're feeding bullshit. That's what they do. I don't care if it's CNN, Fox, it's all ham hock stuff. It's not full, but certain individuals are telling you the truth. One being RFK. He's telling you the truth about the medicine. He's telling you the truth about your food. He's telling you the truth. But maybe people on the left said, you left the left and now you're doing this. I don't believe you. You're caught up in a situation where you're not ready for the truth. You can't handle the truth. If you're still believing in the paradigm of left versus right, that's not the paradigm. The paradigm is the creation of the collapse is connected to both sides collapsing on itself when it's built on a foundation of sand and not truth. because it was built on the foundation of sand, granules separated. Sand, granules separated, right? Now they became dry. When they're wet, they clump together, right? In the ocean, but they become dry. Deserts are always usually in past former oceans. That's why they're sandy deserts, ocean bottom. Now it's dry because the lack of water has the structure has changed or the reality has changed. So I'm going in today on something of a experienced, and then today I was just kind of just meditating and thinking about my last video, and it hit me, and my higher self was like, "Hey, peep this out." I'm like, "Okay." Your dreams that you had 2 years ago, almost to the month, actually a little bit over a month, 2 years and a month and a half month. End of September is October of 24 came in, 23, excuse me, came in right when we're in the middle of the body bod vidivid. You know what I'm talking about. And you are piecing it together, but here's the accumulation of what you were seeing. And then it, boom, like a sledgehammer hit me. What you're seeing, what you've been saying, even on your last video, was the revealing of it 2 years later, what it meant. And this isn't the first time this has happened to me, because, yeah, I've even revealed something recently from a dream in 2008, which is one of the heaviest dreams I ever had. It seems so real because it is real. You're in another dimension. Even higher self is expressing future self with past self of the self now. Piece that together, revelate. Put that together. Let your gnosis sink in and bite into that. But anyways, let me share some words first, and then we'll get into the meat of this. I had said the other day, right? I had said that notice the collapsing of the structures and how everything's changing. While we're saying that demon here, a politician, they're all puppets or actors, both sides, every country, the whole world's a stage. That it was falling. So let's look at this word lapse first, and then we'll go into collapse. Lapse goes into the Latin, loose one's footing, slip, slide, from a stem of labi, to glide, slip, glide, and fall, meaning fail in duty or faith, meaning become void, revert due to some failure or non-action by a holder. Lapses, lapsing, and we see lapses and lapsing goes into computer, goes into AI, goes into the art, into the computer land or technology land, right? So we see lapse. And then the first thing you notice, it's footing, slipping, gliding, everything you would do with your feet. Remember, foundation's connected to your feet. We're going to notice lapse is part of collapse. The collapse, where lapse is the last part of it. So that same lapse in etymology. If you don't learn etymology, you really don't understand how to read. And I don't care if you're degreed up and you don't know etymology. You only know what you're putting together with words and structures, but you don't know true meanings. Like if this is the first time you go, what's etymology? And you're here. Etymology is the foundation or the structure from words in its origination, the structure of words. So let's go collapse. We've seen the slipping of lapse, fall together, fall into an irregular mass through loss of support or rigidity, from Latin collapsus, past particle of collabi, fall together, from a simulated form, together, see lapse. So it's actually slip, lapse. See, that what I told you is factual. It tells you lapse is the noun aspect of part of this word. Figurative sense of coming to nothing, fail, is from 1801. sedative sense caused to collapse from 1883. Collapse is assisted originally of the groups of persons fallen from a spiritual or religious state, even collapsed, right? If we put the in it an ed, related to and connecting to collapsing, right? It's related to falling together, originally of the lungs, right? From the mental sense, meaning physical portation, reference to institutions, sudden collapse, capable of collapsing, made so as to collapse. Alternative spelling of collapsible, see collapse. And as we go on, collapsable, and it always going to refer back, right? Is more common word, collapsible is more common word, modern word, right? So it goes into cave, connected, caving, into a cave, and the cave collapsing, and hence where we're at and what we do there and what happens with that. I'm going to stop the share for now. Got one more to share in a minute. Hence, I'm going to go into now. So we've seen the collapse and lapse connected to foundation feet, not to be able to stand rigidity. We know about the parable of foundations. What's a good foundation? What's not a good foundation, right? What's a foundation? What's not a good foundation? It talks about being planted on stone, talks about being planted on sand, and what happens in each case of what takes away what can happen when you plant seeds or plant a foundation on these forms of stone. It talks about rocks. It talks about everything that would be a negative or not be a good foundation. This isn't necessarily talking about literal. This is talking figuratively, spiritually, and foundationally. Something that is there, like an egregor, right? A government, a business, anything that's somewhat given power is an egregor, and it's falling down on itself because it says fall down together. It falls upon itself. And hence, what are you saying? I'm saying that notice what's happening now. Even when there's an overwhelming amount of stuff coming out about our past, our government, even if you go to Instagram, I'm hearing on Twitter, I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on X, that it's pro one group all the time. That's what I'm hearing. I'm not on there. I haven't been on there. I've left TikTok. I've actually left Facebook for purposes. I don't want nothing to do with them. I even mentioned the other day, I'm here to tell truth. That's all I really want from this, is to tell truth, because the reality, what's happening is I'm more and more seeing the destruction of people, mindset, and unity and oneness into the artificial or the AI foundation of even governance. And I even mentioned you were building a wall or your own prison cells, and these structures are unseen. With the collapse of the reality and the government that's been here 200 years, and this is worldwide, this is just not the United States, is what you're seeing is it even revealing itself on itself for those who could see that it's a very thin veil. The truthers have ears to hear, eyes to see, ears to hear. And then in the scriptures, it talks about people that have eyes but don't see, have ears but don't hear, talking about there's a greater revelation, there's a greater understanding, there's a greater awakening, there's a greater unveiling, because the book of Revelations, the word revelations means unveiling that which is hidden. Occultic means that hidden knowledge. The occultic knowledge is being unveiled, and it's some use it for evil, power, and destruction. Hence, obviously seen. But you can also take it and build a unity and understanding, because you're seeing the club's knowledge that they're keeping from the club, like George Carlin said. You're not in the club. You weren't in the club. That's why we were encased since the 1700s in this country with secret societies. Why is it secret? You're not in the society. Notice you got to just not look at the secret. You got to look like it's a society made that you're not a part of the club. That's what Carlin was really telling you. Different people have given you bites, brie cheese bites of the truth, but how did you digest it? And were you able to get out of it what it was telling you? Hidden knowledge. So the unveiling as this collapses on itself. we're being told a lot of truth, and it's like overwhelming, right? You're hearing, I mean, you even seeing old newspaper articles on Instagram telling you that the DuPonts and the Rothschilds and them families who purchased the United States as a corporation. I think this was an article from 1905 or 1913. This actually happened literally legally in 1871 after the Civil War, because that's really the Civil War's purpose, was to destroy and collapse America, left versus right, and giving you a storyline that this was what it was about. That was only collateral damage of the true storyline. It was for the bankers to bankroll and put the United States in a minus with no money. And then, of course, your European bankers would come up and said, we can help, sign it over to us. And it becomes it ends up leaving a country and goes into being a corporation. Hence, it's been that way since then. But then it tells you the buyers in 1913 in an article in a newspaper, built on a horrible foundation. So the collapse is telling you all these truths, but many people that have no knowledge and no higher knowledge and no revelation knowledge and don't know that within them is the truth, right? Christ in you, the hope of glory, that within you is the kingdom of God, not outside of yourself looking for structures of buildings that will give you exoteric hogwash, because it's hogwash. Actually, it's not wash. It's more hog dirty because it's a horrible foundation. So them, though, who have eyes to see and ears to hear through the collapse are seeing there's a thin veil to the other side. There's a veil to the other side being seen and being rent or being opened or being torn, right? A veil of truth interdimensionally, another dimension, another reality. I'm going to share with you something that's been happening with me. 2023, 19 going back to 1923. I went up to take my morning walk. I'm going to be honest. I've had this situation. Some of you go, I never had that. No, well, sorry. Many of us have experienced it. No one we experienced it because we've been experienced since it's 19. I've been experiencing this shit since 1993. Lucid dreaming, dreams that come to pass, revelation knowledge since then. That's what took me out of the church. I got taken out of the church, the traditional Pentecostal apostolic church. That's what I was in. I woke up and was taken out with a strong hand. And I was never the same, and nothing never stopped coming after that experience. So in 2023, the end of September, almost like September 29th, 30th, I believe that's the 2 days. I could be off by days, but it was before October 1st, right before. The fall had just started in that year. They're still during the viddy. I walk out and I have this vision. I see in the sky, and I see like this line, right? This like almost like a film like this. And the film is like this, and it's going like this as it goes down. And then it breaks and it stops. And I'm like, what the heck is that? So then I had started listening and kind of knowing about quantum physics and string theory, and also simulation theory and spiritual simulation theory through revelation. And then later started combining them with the sciences, the John Wheelers, which I did a thing with John Wheeler, and the different ancient religions, quantum physics, how they were tied even together. Go look that up if you have never seen that video. It's very good. I did a 5-part series on that using the different like Gnosticism, the I Ching, Buddhism, Hinduism, esoteric of these that were saying this thousands of years ago, millenniums ago, especially the I Ching, Buddhism, Taoism was saying that as much as the I Ching, as much as 5,000 years ago, were saying these things. I don't see a chat thing, but anyways. So then what started happening? I started looking at that, and I go, what did I see? What was the vision? What was I supposed to get out of that? And I was kind of coming and looking and saying, is this simulation theory? And it's the end of the simulation. It's almost like it was like a strip of film, almost, right? Like it was ending. There was a breaking point, and there's what was coming new. At the very same time, in some other, this was an awake vision. I was awake at this time, what we call awake. I was physically walking in this side of this, not in dream state, which I don't, you're asleep to this level and you go and travel to another realm and have a realm experience. Every time you do it, if you're not remembering it, it's really because you're not remembering it. That's why you don't remember your last lives. You don't even remember your dream last night. For you doubters and unbelievers. So I was having these dreams, and this was September, early September. I had 2 dreams of chaos. I was seeing a lot of chaos, I mean, a lot of chaos. People running through apartment buildings with guns, chasing other people, people robbing stores, people destroying and breaking windows, people chasing people, people running from people, children screaming. And I had 2 days of this dreams, and every time which would appear to me was I'd see a portal appear and I'd walk through it. And when I walked through it, the first dream, I was like, let me get my phone because I actually wrote notes on this for remembrance purposes. I was like, man, it was good to get out of that chaos. Thank you, man. At least I can go into some inner peace here. This side, quiet. I don't see anybody around. Very quiet, very, very quiet. Oneness, unity, almost meditative. Silence. Be silent and know that you are. Right. The next night, it happened again, but this time the experience of going through the veil was just wholly different. I'm going to call it wholly different. I walked through, but then I started walking, and it was appeared to me like a reality or a city, right? And as I walked through this city, I noticed people doing stuff. They were really caught up in their creativity, whatever manner of creativity they were locked into. They were really focused on being the best they could be. It wasn't like, oh, I'm punching in and I got to do the same thing I do every day. It's nothing new, nothing creative. I just get in here for a paycheck so I can pay my bills. What a life we live. Think about the reality of that too. We earn a living instead of just living, right? But anyways, that's a whole different story and a whole different podcast, but just throw it in. Just connect that to the collapse of something not built on a good foundation. So, but I notice these people as I go through their city, they're not rude to me, but they're not caught up in gossip of others, telling me stories of the others. They'll direct me to the others, whatever I need. And then I noticed in this community, it was really a place of unity, oneness, and it wasn't a bunch of duality, us versus and left versus right. It just wasn't chaotic. And hence then, I've been going to this place a lot, right? A lot. So I'm visiting this place. I'm meeting other people, males, females, but they're all in this oneness united, and they'll direct me to this guy and this girl really do this well and this well, but they don't backbite each other. They don't talk about each other. They're very focused on creating what they want to create, their reality. This is like they all created. They are not caught up in Jimmy Jack has more money than Suey Sue and all this duality that we deal with, and the left only has the truth and the right only has the truth, and black versus right. We were here first, you're later. That crap wasn't there, man. Anything that caused duality, and I've said many times, in this reality, it's easy to cause in a dualistic plane. It's easy, unless the people are in a higher consciousness state of being of oneness, to cause a duality and cause division. That's why they are mastering a dualistic plane of divide and conquer. It's actually easy. If I say, man, especially on the internet, you know how everybody's objective, everybody questions, nobody really praises anybody, everybody wants to attack you and put you down. You know how it is. You go to any type of thing. I'm a huge professional wrestling fan from the past and still am. I'll watch wrestling. understand the foundation of it. But if I go in any podcast or I go in any kind of social media with wrestling, it's a shit show. And what I mean by shit show, everybody attacks somebody for what they're doing and will put very tribal. I like this organization. It's the only one's good. Yours sucks. I mean, just really wussified stuff. And the division that it caused is people start hating each other and they'll start saying things. And then somebody who's kind of old school like me has to stay away from it, because I'll light you up. Not like this. If we get into the division of these later generations, that we see a lot of softness in this. Just be honest. If you look at it, and you can see how this reality has unfolded itself. So as it collapses, it's collapsing on itself. It's falling together, almost like the divided of a bad foundations created you to see what the foundation really is. Back to the dream. So I start going to this place constantly in my dream world of unity, oneness. Then all of a sudden, this one day, one dream, this one time I go, I'm in like a classroom type setting and I'm the teacher. And I have a classroom full of men and women. And all of a sudden we hear this loud sound and a bam outside the building, like almost like a bomb, like probably how war-torn places would feel and be. I looked out the window and a few of the people in the class, I go, that's like a building, but it's not. It's like a structure, but where did it fall from? Because there was no structure to fall from. If you were to go literally outside and said, there was no building here for this to fall to, right? And I knew that something I was looking at, it's falling, structures are falling. We all go outside, all of us in the classroom, and all of a sudden I go on the stage and we're all together teaching. And I said, listen, when the structure comes, you will hear it first, then you'll see it, but you'll hear first. And then we would go like this. We did this 3 or 4 times where I went, hear it, now see it, 10 steps to your right. And they go to the right, a structure would follow where we were standing. But everybody was in unity in this oneness place. Nobody goes, I ain't moving, I don't see it, like you would here. I don't believe that. Everybody moved in unity, harmony together to the right, and the structure would fall. Then I'd go, hear it, see it. Hear it, see it. And this is actually even science, because I went looking into this. You will hear frequency and vibration before you see it. The speed of the hearing versus in the speed of light foundation is you're going to hear it and then you will see it. Not hence far from it, but you'll hear first. And I go, hear it, and they would all go. And I go, see it, moves 10 steps to your left now. They would do that. What would happen? The structure would fall where we were standing. Meaning we're being led now, and everybody's in a unity to flow together as a unified body, as a unified people, as a unified structures together. And we were watching structures fall from the heavens almost, because these structures were no buildings that were nigh unto us if we were outside looking and saying, okay, there's no buildings like this. These buildings were falling from high places. Think about this. And then I would do it again. Step 7 feet to the forward. Everybody that was in that room would go in harmony and unity like a dance. It would fall. They'd look. We'd look at the structure. We'd analyze the structure. Wow. I'm just seeing it now. What just I said that I didn't see. By analyzing, meaning we're seeing through the veils now. We're seeing the truth of what the structure really was, what its foundation was, what it was built on, and what it lacked in what it was of not being built on honesty, truth, but more deception, chaos, and illusionary BS. And that's what we're seeing now. Nothing was ever created through the system to benefit us as the people. Hence, look at your water, look at your air, look at your food. Do I need to tell you more when I take these foundational things and tell you how you're looked upon and how you're in this chaos reality that I stepped from in this dream, right? So then the very next step, I started looking at this. I had this dream. This was a couple of years ago. These dreams now, this dream, what I'm talking about, was in October. multiple times. And since then, it's kind of the same thing. Since I had one recently, it was heavy. I will get into that because we're going to get into that because that has to do with now and now. But this was now. It was like my dream of going traveling, seeing my future self. There is a oneness unity of people. We had ears to hear, eyes to see. We flowed in oneness and avoid the structures. The structures are the collapsing of this reality we see now in every aspect of how it's falling, because it's built on sand, it's built on untruths, it's been built on deception, it's been built on corruption, which are all horrible foundations that cannot last. Not built on love, not built on unity, not built on thankfulness, not built on gratitude, but built on people taking advantage of other people and holding them away from the truth of the reality of the whole thing, keeping them away from knowing themselves, keeping them away from knowing the place they live, all that yada bail stuff. I'm just going to be that it exactly lines with it. Way stuff. And then look at all the stuff they're even telling us about the Jews. It's like they're force feeding us all the stuff, like wanting us through this process to create another within the collapsing, another reality and a mindset to attack and cause a division, which now I'm not denying a lot of this is truth because truth's coming out, but it's really oversaturating. And if somebody doesn't know how to deal with it, they'll deal with it with a lower level thing. Suicide, overwhelmingness, killing somebody else, whatever floats your boat. And I told you the Christian right's going to come because look what happened yesterday with New York City and the mayor. You talk about a joke. This guy's a rapper, never really had a job. This guy's a rapper and a friction Marxist, socialist, and supposedly a Muslim is now the mayor of New York City, the biggest city in the U.S. This is the stuff that happened a number of years ago, why the downfall you see in Europe. Just take notice, the structures are falling. And as they fall on themselves, our spiritual consciousness is seeing the unfolding within the unfolding of truth. As we unfold that Sophia, or that wisdom, that in Proverbs calls it a her. I call it Sophia, I call it Isis, Aphrodite, whatever. It's the feminine aspect of the reality falling on itself, but us with eyes to see and ears to hear are able to see through the crevices of the foundation and call it out, or the lack thereof, and the truths that are coming, which to many will be overwhelming, and to even us who have revelation knowledge need to take deep breaths and back up and just be and go within to get that structure, the true foundation within you, what you're connected to, hence whence, where you came from, to know who you are. Right? Think about this. So the collapsing is unfolding its truth to you, through you. And you're able to see all of this was built, has their own collapsing of their own reality falls. They're trying to hook you up in a new reality and get ahead of us and have us ushered in with some of the stuff we've talked about here. With the DID. Think about that little acronym. I haven't heard anybody else say that. But notice ID and put a D in front of it. So we're going to call it the DID. Code talking. Every aspect of this that's falling is showing you yourself, if you have a eye to see and ear to hear, what's in between the crevices of the lies, deception. That's why it's falling, because it was built on a bad foundation that was not built on a true foundation, but was an illusionary, deceptive lie upon lies upon lies. See, that's how they do it. That's how it's been done. This isn't the first time this stuff happened. Stop. Cap. Stop. The people now in charge will use anybody that will sell out to them. Anybody that will sell out to them. From athletics, it's all phony. I told you before, geometry coding shows you athletics is phony. And I was the biggest, and I mentioned in the last video, one of the biggest athletic guys in coaching and playing as a youth and family bringing up that we had the fucking, excuse me for the effing, didn't mean to say that. We had the football game on, that F I'm okay with. We had the football game on every week. We had basketball games. We had baseball games. And you can see that every structure of this is falling. In every aspect, from music, horrible. I'm just going to say it. I hope young people can get me. The new music is horrid. That stuff ain't music. That's AI music, which means it's soulless. Nobody plays an instrument no more. And if you're a genre it does, shout out to you, you're good. I do like jazz and I do like rock, which applies that. And so, well, rock plays with instruments, not AI. Fake beats on a machine. Let's be real. People want to hear that. Let's be real. But it's even got worse. Not that I didn't like rap. You go take me back in the 80s and that, when the rap was telling you some positive stuff, but the stuff now and the little boys and little girls are going around school talking about this stuff. It's the collapse of the reality. I was looking how the birth rate has fallen and what's happened through the process of the programming of nobody's marrying and having children, which is the most natural thing to do, and nobody's doing it. Birth rates are falling and people don't know. You get a couple generations of this fall, like guess what collapses? Now the population collapses. The structures are falling. So we were seeing the structures fall and we were going to the structures, analyzing them, going, what is this building? I go, this isn't like a building. That's what I was saying in the dream. There is no building here for this to fall. There is no high structures like this. It's not around this area that we were at. The structures there were just smaller buildings. I go, this is coming from a high place. We heard a high fall and the noise of the fall. Then we seen the bang that sounded like a bomb from when it fell. The structures of this reality, of this which is an illusion of power, are falling. But they got a plan for you. Hence it falls, because they always are thinking ahead. Planning because it's a script. That appears to me that actually aspect is it. They know that this reality is a script. Hence, that would be a simulation, and the time, dates, and years when hence this happens, and some of the ages and stuff like that. Hence, so you say, well, what were you seeing? I was seeing that we have them that have eyes and ears have greater insight to what's happening. You can decode, get some information. More others are seeing, for some, leaving the Democratic Party was growth. For 65 years of being torn up like you've been torn, it is be facts. And the level of lowness that place has gone to. I mean, here in California, we have a governor who has us so much in debt. No money came in, thieving it. When he came into power, they were in the surplus. Where'd money go? He lives in a mansion now. And that job don't pay mansion wages. Hence, they are built on a foundation of Rome. The Roman Empire never went nowhere. Remember, the Roman fell, but these guys were able to adjust. The bloodlines were able to adjust the fall, right? They did. And then just turned it into the Catholic. Do you ever wonder why the Catholic Church is in Rome? Because it's Rome. That's really what they're telling you if you don't discern that when the Roman Catholic Church went to Rome, the Catholic Church went to Rome, they're telling you they're the continuation of Rome. All you have to do is decode it and open this and these, and you can see and hear. They got ahead of the game after the political fall. And that which seemed religious was really the same bloodlines of families that went in and created a religious sect that has nothing to do with what they profit. In fact, they went forth to conquer politically. And I'm just giving you a lot of history that a lot of people are still in this religion and will shun the truth of the history. The blood and gore upon the floor. We're really quickly, easily able to call the Muslims a horrible religion, and they kill each other. Man, the wars and the stuff that early Christian church did from Rome, from Rome, part of the foundation, blood and gore upon the floor, man. They killed Gnostics. They killed anybody that didn't do anything that wasn't aligned with them. Just now, kind of the collapse. Now the collapse there is to go AI. That's their game to next level, to lock you into a debt and then run an AI governance. And that's their answer to the new age. That's a freaking weak answer, really. Lack of consciousness for sure, but also wanting to keep power in the ages and the age to come. So look at this. I went into a reality we were seeing the structures fall. When I first seen it and I seen the sky, the vision of the sky, I knew what it meant, but didn't. And then it's been hitting me recently. This is what it was showing you. The reality is the structures are falling that you don't see. Like I said the other day, invisible, unseen structures. This is the unseen structures, is the structure of the mint. And I even told you in the video, what is the etymology of that word? Once you know it, they're not lying to you. What the word is that controls governments, the word government means mind control. They are exactly what they are. They're not lying to you. You don't know what they're for. You think they're here to save you and govern you, when they're here to run game, because it's not really a country, it's a corporation. Corporations have what? Hostile takeovers. War. This would be, so you go to war in business, right? People do go to war in business. A hostile takeover or company. But then we have a hostile takeover in another country, go to war with them, charge them, give them loans, the same banks that loan both countries. Then they bankrupt one of them for sure, give them the worst material, especially when the one that is the other side is the side that's staged to win. You know what I'm saying? Is staged to win, because that's the collapse. So the collapsing of what people are trying to save, which would be Americans, especially if you're looking to save your rights and save all this stuff, it's collapsing in front of you. Like I said, New York just voted in a Muslim. And if you guys are there and I'm going to be honest, and you're gay, and voted that in, how bright are you not? Get the guillotines up. They don't play that stuff that the left and the freedoms we had here. I think it's a lot of programming more to get people to even be that way. But not judging, because just don't make, you know what I mean? And the taking away of defunding police more in a city that's homeless population, crime off the hook. I mean, just crapola. Couldn't pay me to even visit anymore. And if you paid me, you better pay me handsomely, because I don't want to be there. But this is not only there, it's also this state. But this is what they did yesterday. This is all to get our attention, having purposes, because this is a played out script. So the collapsing of what you thought was secure, America, our freedoms, our rights, our common sense, having all this stuff, is collapsing right in front of you. I'll say it again. It's collapsing right in front of you. Right in front of you. And as it collapses, you see through the crevices, it tells you the truth. We got guys in this part telling you, your food's no good, your water's no good, the shots that they're giving cause this and cause that. And I mean, I go to Instagram and I found out all about how modern medicine changed via Rockefeller to the medicine we have now. And do I really have to tell you about this medicine now? If I do, yeah, you don't know. You're still believing in something that's collapsed and collapsing out right on you. So as it collapses on itself, the truth comes out because it's built on a porous lies and a bad foundation. And those with everybody's hearing it and seeing, some are pushing away, but those with eyes to hear and eyes to see and ears to hear are like seeing through the crevices that there's a thin veil is being rent. You're seeing the truth. And the other side of that veil is some greater reward and truth. But this is the time to be connected to who you are. And I'm not talking about who you are as your ego. I'm talking about finding yourself, spending more self by yourself, activating yourself, because you may need some more activations. And what I mean by that, you may need some more activations of self. So you can be in a place of power that can direct you in certain areas, similar, like, do you remember the stories? Jesus is walking, a Roman policeman or Roman soldiers looking for him, and says he got lost in the mist. And we think about the mist of the people. I'm going to tell you what it is. He got lost in the mystery, and they were not able to behold the mystery that was, and he was hidden and was able to scamper away. And also power that you may have, because there's a time to get in that book of Revelation and see it's just not one-sided, but also they're trying to push a script through it to make it, because I would never look at this as literal in the past. I would look at it, it's a revealing of Christ in you, the veil's being rent, the 7, seals or the 7 chakras, all that good stuff that we know is there. But they're trying to do a script, or they're not trying, they are doing a script to make this literal. And they can do some technology baloney and have you believe in some stuff, or somebody's coming back again, parting the skies, whether it's an alien. They got you, everybody out here chasing. The government told us there's alien spaceship. Why would you believe them? Hence, why would you believe those who are being revealed that they do nothing but lie? And the collapsing of it is showing you the lies within the lies and the foundation of something that can't stand, because it's built on lies. Good foundations last. And still going back to a belief system, because you're wanting to be saved by a church, a religion, a government. Nobody's coming like that to save you. And stop with the alien crap, man. Stop. That stuff's old. And I don't see it as outer. I see it as interdimensional. And that interdimensional stuff's been here a long time. Hence, even other groups were telling you that. Ancient Gnosticism, the archons, and all that were telling you this a long time ago. And others were telling you about these things being interdimensional. And then the next thing you said, we look at with this falling of the structure, is the divisions of certain things that were relied on by us. And you go, what do you mean relied on? We gave up through we had the different revolution, industrial revolution, right? We left the farms and we thought we were better people and more intelligent people, and we were well educated by leaving the farms, chasing a job in an inner city, living on top of each other, which is not normal, which is not even normal, and is not reliable. Not reliable. And you gave up something that was sovereign. We gave up something that was sovereign. Our ancestors did. My ancestors did. My grandparents did. I loved my grandparents to death. Miss them dearly even now. I was very close to them. But they left the place that many of us yearn that we had. Being independent of stores for food. We're able to grow their own crops, and we're farmers. And we looked at farmers as being uneducated and ignorant, and they were the most sovereign people around. They controlled and grew what they consumed. And when you give it to something that's built on a bad foundation, you get what we got now with the type of food we've been eating for a number of generations and the illnesses and obesity of America. Other countries don't even have a lot of the stuff that's in our food. I told you the food and the water. Everybody in the 90s, it got really popular to go out and buy bottled water. Do you know that's and say, oh, it's spring fresh water in the bottle? No, you're drinking out of plastic, which is seeped in to the water because this water and this plastic's been heated before you ever get it. And there's in the places that they bottled this tap water in. It's all tap water, man. You're paying for tap water. And so it's everywhere. I mean, I watch an athletic event with millionaires and they're drinking bottled water, and I'm just going, what the hell? This is shit. But our millionaires are drinking it. What about, and the regular people or the poor people? What choice have they got if the millionaires aren't bright enough to get another water? Because it really is uninformed. They did this, it got popular, and then everybody started buying their water thinking it was better than their tap water. It had plastic in it. Now we're finding out plastics in our food. Why? Because you start doing studying plastic, you're not eating, you're not drinking good. Folks that love you don't do that. A collapsing structure falls because it wasn't built on a good foundation. But yet we're trying to save something and renew something that we think will be better because you're trying to do it and you're looking for even a religious savior to come outside of you and save you, which never was the work. When you wake up, you know this. Watch as I notice, I'm going to read this. I notice as reality collapses on itself, we see the thin layers of the flooding of truth, of the reality of the collapsing reality. But those of us who have an expansion of consciousness and sees the veil renting right in front of us, eyes to see and ears to hear. And I will share another dream. This is a recent dream, very recent dream. So in this recent dream, I'm sitting, I was walking amongst people, right, in the community. But my intuition and my discernment are on next level. I'm seeing through people almost like an x-ray machine. And then I'm like, oh, shoot, that one there don't have a soul. They're NPC. That's a non-player character. They don't have souls. They're unsoulless. They're unaware. And I noticed them all around. Us through this tech age, are our kids being created to be this because they're stuck in game systems and in AI? And the reality is they never lived a life where they dealt with nature at all, like we did. I talked to my kids, I'm 63, and I noticed the ages underneath me. It decreased every age underneath me. When we were children in the summertime, even into teenagers, we would not wear shoes. In the late 60s, when I was a little boy, all the way in through the 70s, children in summertime did not wear shoes. We were barefooted. We were barefooted all through the summer. That's just a fact. Then I noticed the next generation, it decreases. And then my children decrease heavily, late 80s and 90s, baby. Through the 90s, I'm like, nobody goes out barefoot no more. Nobody puts feet on the dirt. Nobody puts feet on the grass. Rubber shoes break the conduit in the flow of energy. Tennis shoes, Jordans, they break it. All these tennis shoes and these shoes are designed to disconnect you from the electrical magnetic of Mother Earth and nature. To the point now with, I'm watching grandchildren and the generation of children raising the grandchildren. They're raised, they've never seen any world without technology. Is this what the robber is, that's even having and has its corruption with the indoctrination associated with stealing souls or unconnecting souls? And I was having these dreams and I was seeing people and I could read their thoughts and I go, oh, they're not connected to their soul at all. They're PCNs. And this is what I was saying to myself in the dream. I wasn't talking. I'd go and discern them. And I was seeing like an x-ray machine. My discernment in this dream was like freaking off the chains, where I could see them, discern them. And I mean, to their thought, their heart, their lack of coherence, their uncoherence, and their artificial coherence to computers. And their mindset was always AI, computer technology, not soul connection of unity, oneness, and a spiritual connection was not involved. And I was seeing this, and this was Friday night. The stream was Friday night. And I was looking at this and I was like, is this another something of my future self? The future is the past. I know the reality. We don't live in a linear reality. Everything's happening at once when you go to the higher realms. So this is kind of, and it unfolded to me. We're unfolding our infinite wisdom, our feminine aspect, because it's unfolding wisdom. Wisdom's a she, Sophia, like I mentioned earlier. Sophia. It's unfolding within us. We're unfolding who we are. It's just like, oh, unfold, unfold, unfold. And we start unfolding and resonating with that energy. That's who I am. I am light. I am love. I am source, and I come from source. I'm just in a physical body, which has its okay, but does make me feel separate and does produce a separateness, because what comes with it, like the Gnostic says, is the other side of not understanding who you are, right? You almost have to work to stay in a certain place. You have to be aware you just can't be. You have to stay in awareness, because if you leave it, you'll go into the other state of default settings. It's always there, right? In this lower realm place. So we need the raising of the unveiling, unfolding of this veil of consciousness is like portals, and different portals of even different or higher frequencies and consciousnesses. Them that have eyes and ears to hear are experiencing and can see. Don't get caught. And I have been recently doing so much work of looking outside of myself, what's happening in this world and plans, I'm going to say again, and it's easy to get in fear, but I also knew that I had to take a deep breath and go within myself and have to reboot, because I realized that's why I had to come this way today and not just stay on that way. Even though we need to know both. In the warning, don't be stupid and ignorant and get yourself caught up in something that's, and then because you don't know. Because in this reality, right, this reality says the people are destroyed from lack of knowledge. There's no mercy from lack of knowledge in this reality with Yada Baoth, in this physical God of this world, lower level reality where nothing takes responsibility. And we wonder why certain people don't take responsibility with themselves through systems, right? And then get caught because the whole system from the very top doesn't take responsibility and love and oneness, or was it ever supposed to? Because it's a lower level of, I want to say this, the underworld, where the gangsters run the reality, or the archons run the reality. Them in power are not lovers, but users, abusers, and energy suckers. It was interesting. I was listening to Chuck Swindoll's Jr. Anybody remember coming out of Christianity? His dad, who was a big time 80s, especially 90s, going into 2000 preacher, like the Jerry Falwells and he was on that level. Probably he had his own TV show. Well, his son is not him. His son left religion and woke up. So he was doing this study on the bloodlines and what this enhanced in the religions, what they come from, and the bloodlines and power. I mean, he has good stuff on this. That seems to be parts of what he talks about. But he did huge studies to piece this together. And in the Old Testament, you hear the word talking about Amalekites, right? If you read Old Testament, talking about a group of people called the Amalekites, and he brought out something very interesting. When you look up the word Amalekites, it means blood lickers. Yeah. Also, do I need to say more? Piece that together with it. Of the place we live, and we're looking, can we transform this place? Or are we supposed to? There's another place. We're just a passing through. Another dimension, another place. I know there's people like that believe this is like the negative reality of the true reality, which that's what Gnosticism tells you, that the 7 layers, the 7 realms of Yada-Baoth is a copy of the 7 higher realms of the spiritual copycats, because Yada-Baoth's a copycat, right? And the lower level fake heavens are a copycat, but it's not the real authentic thing because it's a copycat. You can't get authentic when you're not experiencing authentic. That's why he's a jealous. But he made the copycat and disguise it real well. I mean, disguise it real well. When you don't know, and that the job is to keep you, and through this is to keep you in your forgetfulness or your spiritual amnesia, that you don't know who you are, that you always feel separated from actually who you are. Let me tell you, we're at an hour. I think I'm good. I'm trying to think what else I could say about this. I told you this last dream. I told you the others. I'm kind of looking at my notes. Yeah, I text to myself. I left Riverside because they were not giving me the help I need, and I'm an older guy. And when I can't get a hold of you by phone, I get frustrated because I don't like this AI. All these businesses go through the AI portal. AI don't help me. Never does. Can't really direct. It's soulless. That's how I feel. But I can be times like rigid. I can be. But AI, I got time for it. I need help how to do this and this and this. I am okay at looking up stuff and figuring it out, and I'm getting better at that. That takes patience, and I do that. But I did leave the platform because I felt that it didn't help me. And looking for another platform and trying to maneuver, found out I could do this here, share screen even, and all that stuff with the going lab. But I have no background. I mean, how important it is. But when I just want to make videos and not go live, then it's I kind of get stuck because I don't know where do I share pages if I want to make videos that I can't go live on because YouTube is there. But and then I tried OBS. I'm gonna tell you, OBS for me is not easy. I tried it before and I was like, get out. I deleted the whole program off my thing because it's like, this isn't OBS, you ain't easy, you're too difficult. And then I looked it up yesterday and it said for beginners and people it can be difficult, and I go, okay, that makes sense, because Riverside wasn't. It was easier to figure out. It's just the paying for it anyways. But my Cash App, because it's not on the screen, I should have put it in my description. My Cash App is what is my Cash App? It's West Coast. Let me look up my Cash App, give it to you. I used to put it on the screen. Let me look at where can I go to find the name of my thing. That's how much I'm on this. Why can't I find shit? Right here. I want to see. Daniel April. And it's money sign D-Boy WCU for West Coast Uncensored. So it's money sign D-Boy. Please help if you would, so we can get some better equipment, even get a better thing so I can maybe record for the money paying out for having a system and stuff like that, and even get a better camera. And Daniel April, money sign D-Boy West Coast Uncensored, is that if you please help, we definitely would help us out a lot here for the work, the time, and everything else, and getting better equipment and better mics and a better recording system if I need to be. But you guys, appreciate you. We went a little bit over an hour. I had to get this out today because I was getting downloaded this today. And I said, I can't wait for this because I'm in the flow of this. So you guys, love you, appreciate you. You guys have a great day.